we are going to discuss the partner's tale, right? Partners, Partner, apostrophe S, partners tale, Tale, right? When you talk about partner, what do you mean by that? What is the meaning of partner? Partner mane ko. We talk about a person who preach. Do you understand the meaning of preach? Preaching is called as a teaching, right? So, or who plays to the others with the good words, right? So, the partner's tale is the story that the partner has spoken or told to others or told others. Now, we'll go for the introduction to the partner's tale, the beginning of it. So, the story begins with what? Following the green. Green means what? Seriousness. Right. Following the seriousness, physician's story, right, which ends with the death of a young Roman girl. It means how the partner's story began. The story partners tell begin with the ending of another story of physician's story, right? Or physician's tale, isn't it? Now, which ends with the death of whom? A young Roman girl, right? So the host means called as a guest. हम कहते हैं. We say that guest and the host, who is nothing but a means introducing, right? Or called as a who generally interact with others. The host seeks a lighter story to uplift the pilgrims. So the host here does what? Means desires. Desires what? Desires a lighter story to uplift the pilgrims. What do you mean by pilgrims? The meaning of pilgrims is referring to the people, right, who visit to religious places, isn't it? So they are known as the pilgrims. And here, what happened? The host, right, desires to make the uplift. Uplift means what? To make the people feel comfortable, right? So, and who are the people here? Pilgrims, religious people. He asked the partner, the host asked the partners to share a more humorous story. Right? Now, who asked whom? The host asked partners. What did he ask? Hey, partner, can you tell a story which will make the uplift of the pilgrims? What kind of a story? Humorous. What do you mean by humorous? That called as a story makes you feel laugh, right? Or joy, isn't it? So the partner agrees. The partner agrees, right? But after some discussion, but after some discussion among the pilgrims, those of the religious people, right, who visit to the religious places. So they request a moral story. Now, what did the partner supposed to tell? Humorous story. But pilgrims tell him to do what? A moral story. The partner consents, agrees, and prepares to begin after having something to drink. So he drank something, and then after he was going to start, right? And this is where the prologue to partner's tale begin. So prologue means what? Introduction. Introduction to means a partner's story, isn't? So the story begins with what? The partner begins by openly revealing its deceitful practices. What do you mean by deceitful practices? Now, practices that makes others cheat, right? So the partners begins by openly revealing his deceitful practices, his sermons. Sermons means what? That called as a prayer, right? Or poem or chant. His sermons always center on the theme. What is the means a sermon? The sermon is called as the, you can say, poem or chant that always center on the theme that radix malorum est cupiditas. Now, what is that? Now, it is a Greek language, and the line stated that greed is the root of all evil, isn't it? Now, that is what the sermon. What is the sermon? That called as a radix malorum est cupiditas. The meaning of this is called as a greed is the root of all evils. Right? Do you understand the meaning of greed? What? Yes. So greed is the root of all evil. If you ask for more and more and more, you will fall into means nothing, or you will not get anything. So, despite preaching against the greed, so what does he do? Now, partner here means speaks the kind of for teaching, or giving a moral story against what? Greed. That you shall not greed. So he himself is driven by it. Now, the person who speaks against greed is going against the greed. Going for the greed. It means I tell you the moral. The moral is called as greed is the root of all evil. But I do myself nothing but greediness. I am too much greediness. I'm in too much greediness, isn't it? So, openly admitting, who is openly admitting? The partner, right? Openly admitting that his relics are fake and that his only goal is to make money from his gullible audience. Gullible audience. Gullible means that called as yeah, that's what. So the meaning of gullible is called as somebody who is innocent, right? Somebody who is, fool in nature. Innocent means fool, right? Means innocent is a good one. But when you are saying that innocent, somebody turns into fool because if he is innocent, so anyone can cheat, right? So here it is stated that he admits that his relics are fake. Relics are fake means what? His test on teaching are fake. Fake means what? Something which is not real, right? And that his the partner's only goal is what? Only goal is to make money, right? From his gullible audience. So he even boast, you understand, praise or feel pride. He even pride about what? His willingness to exploit the poorest and most vulnerable for his gain. Gain means called as a profit. For his profit, he could go to any amount. His desire is what? His desire to exploit. The meaning of exploit is called as to make somebody pull in a kind of a difficult situation. Humiliate. How do you humiliate to others? Now you humiliate to others by doing nothing but what? Getting profit from out of the others. Isn't it? So his willingness to exploit the poorest means what? Those who are poor financially, and also those people who are very weak in society. Out of them, the partner does what? Gain the profit. Isn't it? So, after this confession, now what he was doing there? He was doing nothing but confessing. What do you mean by confessing? The meaning of confessing is, or confession is called as to admit or admitting. What did he admit? He admitted that he what his job is. First, whatever he says is fake. Second, whatever he says means whatever he teaches. He teaches about greed, but he himself is a greedy. So he talks what? He teaches the moral story, but he goes against of it. Third, he exploits to the poorest people. He exploits to the most vulnerable people in the society, isn't it? So, and these are the things that he confessed before the pilgrims. So he decides he is ready to tell his tale, right? Tell means what? Tell his story, right? Whom did he means, tell the story? The pilgrims. Now the story began. The partners tell the story which he narrated here. Now you can find out we are reading a story. Inside the story, another story, isn't it? You are reading a story, and inside the story, you find out another story, right? So the story began, which the partner is telling to the pilgrims. So he said that the story is about three young Flemish men, right? What age the story is? The three young men, three young Flemish men, so who live a life of debauchery. Now, what do you mean by debauchery? That immoral life. Immoral means what? That they don't have any ethics, any principle, right? So they live a debauchery life, you can say that. So indulging in excessive drinking, gambling, and swearing. Now these are called as the life of the three young Flemish men, right? Whose life is filled with debauchery. How it is known as a debauchery? The first one is called as a gaming, then after drinking, excessive drinking. So gambling, you understand? Gamble. So play jua, right? So play tricks, right? And the swearing means making false promises, right? So now we find out the three young Flemish men. Now we are discussing about that how one day, after hearing about the death of an old friend caused by a figure called death, right? Now the three young men who found a piece of information that how one of his friends died, right? So and it is caused by a figure called death, right? So figure called a death means what? Death might be a kind of a person, right? So they drunkly vow to kill death. So they drunk excessively and they promised. What did they promise? That they promised that they would kill death. Whom did they kill? They killed to death. So on their journey, they encounter. On their journey, what happened? They met. They met who? They met an old man, right? Who directs them to where death supposedly is. Isn't it? Now they were going and they met a person, an old man. So whom did they ask where the death address is? And when the old man directs them to where death supposedly is, right? So they said that they got the information. Death is present under an oak tree. Oak tree means a kind of a tree, right? Under an oak tree. So instead of death, they find a large pile of gold coins, right? Now these three men got the information about death from an old man, so who directed them that death will be available where? Under the oak tree. And when did they go to, or when they went to the man's oak tree, so whom did they find out, or what did they find? They did not find man's death there, but they found instead of death the man's gold coin, right or not? Or a large pile of gold coin. Large pile of gold coin means what? Now a box filled with gold coins. Got the point? Now, excited. They got excited. Why they got excited? Because you were searching your enemy, but you found out nothing but a lot of money, right? So they were excited, but cautious. Cautious means careful, Right. Why they careful? Because they have a pile of gold coins. So they decided to wait until nightfall to move the gold. So they thought that these gold coins might be belong to somebody, right? And they decided they would not take that pile of large gold coins. Then so from that day, that place to the any other place during the daytime. So they waited for till the night, right? So why? Because they avoid being caught and suspected by theft. So people would catch them, right? If they moved the gold coins in daytime, and they will be known as the thieves, or they were doing nothing but the theft. So that's why they draw lots of determine or they draw lots to determine who will go into town to fetch food and wine. Now they could not stay right without food till night, right? That's why they felt hungry and they wanted food. And that's why they decide that who will go into town to fetch food. Fetch food means to bring food. Bring food and wine. As we know that they were doing nothing but excessive drinking, gambling, and means, what else? Oh, promises, right? So false promises. So the youngest of the three loses and leaves, right? So means they make a kind of a game, and in that game, the youngest one out of the three, the youngest one who loses the game, and he was forced to leave, isn't it? But while he is away, when the youngest one left the place, the other two made a story or made a plan. The other two made what? Plot. So, what kind of a plot or what kind of a plan? To kill the youngest one upon his return. Upon his return, when he would come, so we would kill him, right? So, why? Why did they want to kill? Now, they wanted to kill because they wanted to increase their share of gold coins. So the pile of large gold coins, right, would be distributed among the three. But if one will be not there, then that will be half of both. So therefore, meanwhile, the youngest had his own plan, right? So as these two plan to kill the youngest one also made a plan to kill both, isn't it? So the youngest has his own plan. What kind of a plan he did? Now to poison the others and keep all the gold for himself. Now what comes here? Greediness. So when he returns, the two men kill him as planned, isn't it? So as for the plan, so these two decided to kill the youngest one, and they killed him also. Now they then drink the poisoned wine he brought and dies as well. Now what happened? Three of them killed, right? Why? Now because of their greediness, isn't it? The youngest who made a plan to poison them in drink, in wine and food, and these two decided that when he would come, they would kill him. So, as far as they then drink the poisoned wine, and he brought and die as well. Therefore, it proves what did it prove? That greed leads to destruction. Greed leads to destruction, isn't it? Got the point? Understood the story? Now, who said this story to whom? The partner tells this story to the pilgrim, right? And what kind of a nature the partner has? The partner who gives teaching, but he does the exact opposite, isn't it? Now, he told the story. After the story, what happened? After the story finished, after finishing his story, the partner ironically. Ironically means what? What you say, you do the opposite, isn't it? Or you find the opposite. So after the story, the partner ironically offers to sell his fake relics to the pilgrims, right? So means and hoping to profit even after confessing his deceitfulness, right? So what does he do here? He hopes that he would get some kind of a benefit after confessing that his deceitfulness. Deceitfulness means called as a kind of a cheating or a kind of a fake, right? So this angers the host, right? So who insults the partners and threaten violence. Now, the host requested partner to tell the story. The partner told the story, and after that, the partner did what means point out, right, and do the opposite, and said that what nah, he wanted some benefit from the pilgrims. Now, this makes the host of the group so get angry, and what did he do? Now he insults the partners, right? He insults the partner and threatens, right? Threatens violence. That if he do such kind of a thing, then he would kill him, right? So, sorry, if he did something, then he would kill, or he would, mean say, thrash him. The situation is diffused. The situation is diffused. The diffused means what? So, like we say, no, confuse, infuse, diffuse. The situation is somehow called as going very bad, right? By the night. So the situation is diffused by the night. Night means what? Ruler, right? Who encourages them to reconcile, right? Reconcile means to make the kind of a solution, and the group continues their journey, right? So now this is what happened. Now the partner is a unique character. What we draw, right? So and when we talk about the partner, so he is a unique character in a way. Now Canterbury Tales. Now what is Canterbury Tales? Now you can say that a set of stories are given there because he is brutally honest about his own hypocrisy and corruption. So, what kind of a characteristic that you find out from the man called the partner? Now, you find out the man who is very much what means deadly honest, brutally honest. What do you mean by brutally honest? Now, somebody who is very truthful, right, and honest towards others, loyal, so, loyal about what? Now, his own hypocrisy. What do you mean by hypocrisy? Hypocrisy is known as somebody who have nothing but you can say that bad behavior, right? Or a kind of a fake belief, right? And also corruption. That we know that how the partner stated before the pilgrims that whatever he preaches, right? So he believes the opposite, right? Despite his lack of moral integrity, right? He takes pride in his cunning and ability to deceive. So he has the kind of a quality of cunning others. Cunning means what? That called as a clever in a negative manner, right? You are cunning. Cunning in the sense like what? Uh, you cheat others in a clever manner, right? So not only that, you also have ability to what? Cheat others, right? So his story serves, his story, the partner story serves as a what? Critique of his own greed and the greed of others. So his story proves what? His story proves that his own greed. He was also greedy and greed of others. He was telling all such kind of people who do nothing but a greedy or who are greedy. His actions, whose actions, the partner's actions and the story that illustrate or describe what the the theme of the destructive nature of what? Avarice. So destructive nature of avarice means greed. So greed has nothing but a destructive nature. So the story, you can say that the comedy in his story is what? It's a dark and satirical. You won't find out uh, that the comedy is not present. Comedy is present. And what is that? That the comedy is known as a dark. The comedy is known as a satirical. Right. So, it reflects Chaucer's critique of the church and its corrupt practices. Now, why do we read this? Now, we read this because we were talking about the time. We were talking about the time that may be 14th to 17th century. And during that period of time, what happened? The church, we know that church, right? So there are two types of church. One is called as a Catholic, the other one is called as a Protestant, right? There are two types of church. Now here it is stated that Geoffrey Chaucer, who is Geoffrey Chaucer? Now who wrote this story, The Partner's Tale? So he pointed that during that period of time, the church and its corrupt practices. What do you mean by corrupt practices? The church has the father, and these fathers do nothing but cheat to the people, use means wrong use of the power, right? And full of greedy. They over or they accumulate lots of wealth, isn't it? Now, because of this, the story is presented, right? And this story presents the time of Chaucer's, that how father of the churches, the father of the church involved in such kind of a, such kind of a practices, right? So the partner's audacity. Audacity means what? Now you are doing wrong, still you are confidently standing before others, right? So the partner's audacity or the behavior in asking for contribution after admitting his own fraudulence highlights his shamelessness. Right? Now you find out what? The partner is very clever, at the same time very confident and very, arrogant. Uddhata. So why? Now the partner in asking for contribution means what? Now, give me money, right? So because he does what? Everything for his gain, his profit. So he asked for contribution after his own fraudulence highlight. After his own fraudulence means how he does fraud. He clearly stated before the pilgrims that what? Now whatever I do for the benefit. I tell the teacher, I tell the preach, but it has the opposite. He always tells the morality that greed is the root of all evil, but he himself is filled with greediness. So it seems like the father is nothing but a full of greedy, isn't it? So, and that shows his shamelessness. It also suggests that what? He may enjoy the act of deception itself. Even it seems like what he was enjoying. What he was enjoying? The deception. What do you mean by the deception? Cheating to others. Right. Or that he takes pride. He feels pride. What does he feel? He feels pride in what? Not demonstrating his skill. What is his skill? His skill is called as how he decepts others, how he makes cunning to others, isn't it? So he feels pride in demonstrating his skill, in convincing or to make others believe that what? Others to believe is falsehoods. Falsehoods means what? Now, whatever he says, he proves that they all are false. The interaction between the partner and the host. We know that the host who invites partner to tell the humorous story, the pilgrim said in him to tell the moral story. The pilgrim uh, the father or the partner tells the moral story. At the end, wants the benefit out of it. He tells that what he never lets any poor person or any vulnerable people in the society. So the partner and the host serves as a microcosm of the tension. Microcosm means what? That called as a they were the means small part of nothing but the uh, conflict, right? So between honesty and deception. One side you would find out the host who is honest. The other side is called the father who is a deceptive, right? Or you can say that the father who told the story with the full of honesty, but having with lots of deception, right? Further, it emphasizes the complexity or the difficulties of human nature and the moral messages that how it weave means what that makes a chain to the Chaucer's work. Am I clear? Understood? This is what the partners tell, which is written by Geoffrey Chaucer. The story behind the story or inside. Clear? So I'll send you uh, this particular analysis in a form of video. Thank you.